we have not met anyone that hasn't been nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some out there, but it's also what we're giving out as well. It's like what they feel around us, like what's our frequency, what's our energy, and I mean, everybody here has been very nice.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Whisper and the Walk podcast.
I'm Fred Augustine. This is my lovely wife, Gail. Today we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about our latest transition. It's been a few weeks since we last been on. I think 3 or 4 weeks or so. But as you know, we moved from North Carolina to Alabama about a year and 4 months ago or so. And we felt like the Lord was tugging on our hearts, basically, for us to move to Tennessee. Tennessee's been on our hearts even before we went to Alabama.
Yep.
So it's been interesting to see how this all worked out. Literally, when we were getting ready to make that transition, we were praying and like, Lord, where do you want us to go? What do you want us to do? And all of a sudden, doors started to close. Some opportunities started to close that we were hoping. We were trying to extend our stay in Alabama with our family and friends there, just because of so much great things were happening inside the fellowship we were part of. It was amazing to see a great group of people all going after one thing, presence, and learning what it truly means to flow in beloved identity.
Well, I think we both knew when God told us to go to Alabama that it was a minimum of a year.
Yeah.
And it had went past a year, so we were just continuing on because, that's what we thought we were gonna be.
Yeah.
And then, like Fred said, doors were closing, jobs weren't opening up, things were getting, rough financially, just a bunch of things happening. So we just sat back and just really sought, God in like the direction of where we were supposed to go. And we both came up with like Tennessee was on our hearts. Before we ever went to Alabama, God just had us detour. So then once everything closed for us in Alabama, we ended up here in Tennessee, and it's temporary. We're looking for our own piece of land and a house. But, we're on an 80-acre horse farm here in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, which is actually considered Middle Tennessee, which is really cool because we're in the
middle of our journey in life. So it's pretty interesting to see what God's doing in this time, this day and age. And, sitting back and watching all that God has done, and I just want to give a shout out because we miss so many of the people. We miss all our friends and family in North Carolina. It's been a while since we've seen y'all. And then leaving Alabama, we met so many amazing people, great leadership that was there, friends that have got podcasts and different things like that we're able to watch and still stay in touch with. But, we love y'all and we miss y'all and, can't wait to see you. Hopefully it'll be soon. We'll be doing some traveling again and be able to get down those ways and see you guys.
So a little bit of coming here. You guys know, if you know anything about Alabama, it is hot as...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Fred worked outside. So, it was a typical day in the summer. He was always in Pensacola, but it could be 113, and that's not real feel. That was the temperature. Yes. So then we leave there, come here to Tennessee. We're here for a week. It's beautiful. He's loving it. And all of a sudden, they're hit with literally a snowstorm of 8 inches.
Yes. And I'm still loving it because I think my insides are still cooling down right now. So.
I know. Ooh, he was burning up there in Alabama. But come here and it's like, they said they haven't had weather like this in decades, but it had 8 inches in one day, -7. It stayed in single digits for a week.
Yeah.
And guess what happens when you're in an RV and you forget to let your water trickle? Our pipes froze.
Yes.
So I crawl in tiny spaces. Fred's out there with a heat gun in 5 hours. We finally got it done.
You never realize how much you appreciate running water until you don't have any. And so that was a part of a journey that was coming down, and we're sitting here, a lot of times you can learn and you'll start to be like, just even 3, 4 years ago, my first reaction would have been like, that's it, I'm done, I'm checking out. I'm like, can't believe we did this. We should just came here, got a home, said, you know. But it's funny to see when God starts to do something truly on the inside.
Yeah.
Like a transformation begins to take place. And I think we mentioned a little bit before in our other podcast, when we went to Alabama, it was amazing to see um, what God was beginning to show us about beloved identity and what it truly means to move from a place of that identity, a place of being seated in Him, and actually living from a place of rest. And when that took place, it literally began to transform, and something on the inside changed for me,
Yeah.
which was the beginning of it. But the moment we hit Tennessee, something truly began to transform inside of me like never before. It was like a blossom came forth. It was not a place of striving to be better. It was just being better. I think you refer to it as being born.
Yeah. So, throughout our transitions, we've both discovered more of who we are in Christ. And kind of what Fred was saying, he's not striving to be someone he's not.
Exactly.
And I can personally testify to that. Years ago, well, when he asked me to marry him, I'll make it quick. When he asked me to marry him, he said, the guy that you marry is not going to be the same man. I don't know when, how, or what that's going to look like. And of course, I was like, yes, I love you. But anyway, so this journey, we just celebrated 32 years on January 18th.
Woo, woo.
So through this whole journey of our marriage and with Christ, it's been up and down, up and down. And then probably the past, what'd you say, 3 years,
4 years.
I'm noticing changes in him. I don't want to say old man, but sometimes, your old self would try to raise up or whatever. Yeah. And I would get like nervous. And then all of a sudden it was like instant. Yeah. And it wasn't anything he was trying to force. He wasn't trying to make it happen. I remember us going into the homestead. Sorry, I get the high voice. I'm trying not to cry. Going into the homestead, drink. Going into the homestead one night service, and it literally happened. And you came out, and it wasn't anything that no one said, no one laid hands on you, nothing like that. It's something God planted a deep, deep seed in you years ago, and it was brought forth while in Alabama at the transition.
Yeah, one of the biggest words that was given, it's a prophetic word about Alabama that
the prophecy
will come from far and wide. It says men will go there. They'll be able to do things they've never done before, see things they never saw before, and be who they never thought they could be before.
Naturally and supernaturally.
Yes, and it was amazing because when we left out of there, that prophecy has been there from day one when we got there.
Yeah.
It's up on the thing when they hold their prayer services. It's on the wall.
And it was a prophecy that was given like 1965, something like that, by Ruth
post
Ward.
It down underneath later on so you can read that and everything else like that. But I remember one night we walked out of service and Pastor Damon, he went ahead and...
Papa D,
yeah. He went ahead and... read that one night again, and I remember when he was reading that, something said to me, this just happened to you.
Yep.
We walked out that night and I said, that prophecy for me has been fulfilled in my life. Like, I can actually feel that taking place. Something had changed at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we were loving everything that God's doing there, and still love what God's doing there, and can't wait to get back and visit and see all of our friends and family there. But when God starts to do these things in you, you don't realize what's really taking place when you can learn to live from a place of surrender to not just a surrender and a submittance to Him, but a submittance to who He says you are and who His true character is.
Like an acknowledgement. Like, I was telling him, we have to have an open mind to be teachable. you have to know the voice of God.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
you know.
And knowing, not just that, knowing that you are righteous, hearing that message over and over again, you know, it's not that you're growing in righteousness. You might be growing in the understanding of righteousness, but we are as righteous as He is
You
now on the earth.
Yes, you're already righteous. Not that you have to work to it.
Come
You
on.
got to do more. You're already righteous.
Yeah.
Even people that are unbelievers, they're righteous. They just don't know from here to here, like in Him.
Yeah. Because the finished work of Christ is already done. And that's one of the biggest things we're learning in life. You know, it helps you to look at people with eyes of love and understand that, you know, what Christ truly came to do. And I think that's been the biggest thing for us. You know, we have these trials and tribulations, or whatever you want to call them, that come up. They're not caused by God.
No.
The thing is these are things that come up in real world so that we can learn who we truly are to shine as sons and daughters here on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we learn that, we begin to learn to flow from a place of that. You know, the learning about moving or being seated in Him and moving from a place of rest. You learn that, like, even when the pipes were frozen 10 years ago, I would have been in there with a hammer.
Oh, he would have
stuff.
like broke them in half.
We're buying new ones anyways. We're just done here, you know. But now I can sit back and be like, I'll go ahead and take that pause for a moment and realize He didn't create me from a place of anger.
No.
He's not disappointed in me because I didn't let the water not drip. My wife wasn't disappointed in me because the water didn't drip. But it's learning that I'm moving from a place of He's created me to be whole. And He wants me to be whole. And so now from that moment on, I start living from that place of wholeness and worth and who I truly am in Him. A son, beloved unconditionally. Not with a condition if I just do these good works.
Right.
But a condition that He loves me unconditionally. And I don't have to worry that I'm going to fall out of His loving grace. And I think, you know, religion has taught us this way that has been with a judgmental, condescending, you know,
It's like a ruler or a measurement.
yeah, a measuring stick of how I am in my life. And, you know, I'm not measured by that anymore.
Mm-mm.
I have one thing. I've learned that, you know, we're taught the prodigal son. And when the prodigal son is taught, you know, we say, you know, he was one who wasted and did all these other things. But there's so many today that are sitting in the church that are the other son,
Yeah.
which is still a prodigal son.
And we forget about that.
We do.
We always focus on the one who wanted his, you know, squandered his inheritance and ran off.
Yeah.
But look at the other son.
Yeah. The other son's sitting with the father. He's in the home. He's in the kingdom. He's in all these different things. And he still does not know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does he say? He's upset that his brother came home and that his father shown him mercy and that he was restored. He's upset because he didn't get the fatted calf. And, you know, we sit back. We can be those inside the church walls and just stuck in a place of never growing and never learning what it truly means to be a son. And, you know, for us, we're learning what it truly means to have the kingdom inside of us and living from that kingdom inside of us and being seated in Him inside that kingdom. And from there, everything begins to flow.
Yeah.
You know, like, you said it, you know, about being born again, you know.
Well, it's like, oh my goodness, you know, it's been several years, way before became it, you know, knew about any of this in our lives and how we've changed. But, you know, you can't enter the kingdom till you're born again. And I would say that happened many years ago. Well, as my journey has went on and I've grown, reading His Word, having my time with Him, discovering who I am in Him and how He sees me, not what everybody thinks of me or what I think of myself, but how God sees me. I told Fred the other night, I feel like I'm being born again,
Yeah.
like for real this
Same
time.
here.
It's like for real.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Not that the other things were fake, but it's like you start coming into a knowing that he is a good father. He's good. No matter what went on, what takes place, or anything else like that, God is still good. He's still for me. And you realize that he's so good that he's making us good. And he wants
Mm-hmm.
us to have that life, that good life. It's funny because a lot of people will go through life saying, oh, when we get to heaven, or when we, when we're gone from this earth, and everything and all the problems will be gone and everything else like that, and it'll be better. Right here, right now on the earth is where we should be experiencing heaven.
Yeah, this is where we live
Yeah.
that.
Our best life now. The Bible says all of creation, all of it is waiting in eager expectation for the sons of glory to be revealed, or
That's
standing on
me.
tiptoe.
That's you.
Yeah,
That's you. That's everybody.
Yeah. And so when you start to realize that, the world becomes a different place for you to
Yep.
live, and how you live and how you think,
And how you see people.
Yeah. You're not chasing the American dream anymore. You're not living for the next big thing. Like, I loved when I used to travel and see all the signs and wonders and all the different things that were going on. But I no longer long for just those signs and wonders. You know what I long for? His presence.
Yes.
And it's funny because I think we were talking about it a few weeks ago. I went back and looked in my journal, and one of the key things that was on every page that I remember going through was presence. I long for your presence. I long for your presence. And it's funny how over time we get distracted from it. And part of it is because we don't think we're worthy enough to be in his presence, or we need a collective gathering to be in his presence.
Mm-hmm.
But every moment of every day, I have the kingdom carried around inside of me, and I can have his presence. And I think, that's the biggest
Yep.
thing you can learn today.
One thing for me, you've said it and I've heard it over and over, but it just now sinking in. The kingdom is at hand and within.
Yes.
So if I say, like, this microphone's at hand, which means it's tangible, I can reach it, it's right here. He's the same way.
Yes.
And that's, that has changed my thing, is like, oh, I don't have to go seek him. He's here.
Yeah. And when you get to these points in life, when you start realizing that a tangible presence of God is always at hand, you'll learn to live from a place of expectancy that God is always on my side.
Mm-hmm.
I spent years before, saying, oh, the devil's just coming against me, be praying for me and all these different things. And I get it. There is a mindset that you can start to develop, that, oh, the enemy's after me. He's out to get me. And it's not that at all. It's that
you lost your way. You lost here along the way of, like, you're giving him acknowledgement instead of where you reside at.
Yeah. I lose place of where I'm truly seated at. See, because one of the biggest lessons we learned with Jesus in the storm is the storm is coming. We know it's going to rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. We know that the storms are going to come. And we see when Jesus is on the boat, what is he doing?
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping. He's at rest. He's at rest. And it doesn't mean, you have a problem or trials are coming your way. You just go in your bed and you go sit there and you just sleep for weeks. No, that's not what it means.
I hope not.
I hope not, right? But when you still live life to the fullest that you were created to be. And that's the thing. We don't know what it truly means to be fully alive.
Yep.
And one of the things for me, like, when I first got saved, it was radical. I had a radical experience and everything else like that. And I was ready to take on the world. And somewhere over in that journey, that taking over the world, I started to learn these tactics of religion and per se. And I think I posted it on our Facebook, what religion actually is. When I refer to religion or the church, I'm talking to the institutional way of live right, earn this, earn that. You, and
Yep.
it's no more earning these
You got to
things.
try harder, do more, pray hard. You didn't show up to Bible study. When's the last time you read your word?
Yeah,
And,
I must not have fasted enough. That's why,
right.
and all these different things. And it's funny because, like even now we hear the prophetic words. And if you listen to anything online about prophetic, it's funny because one person will say, it's the time of the open door and it's all open door season. You know what? Every day is an open
Open
door in
door.
the kingdom of heaven. As a son, I have access to go in and out as much as I choose. If I walked in my dad's house today and I wanted something to eat, I would just go into the cabinet and look and see what they got and be like, oh, he's got cereal. I'm going to eat some cereal.
He'd probably tell me to go get it, but no.
Probably so, probably so. But either way, because I have that freedom of access in it.
Yes.
The same with me. When my kids come over, I always used to yell at my kids because it was funny.
Our oldest daughter would come over with shopping bags.
Yeah, I'm like, this ain't the grocery store, honey. But it's funny because go look and see what there is to eat in there. I know your mom's got something.
And we let them take it.
And we just let them take it. It was never a question of, that's mine, you can't have
She
it.
didn't have to earn it.
Nope.
She didn't ask for it.
Nope.
It was already there for her to
Yeah.
take.
Even your young children, it's funny, the mindsets that they're grown with, they're never worried about where their next meal is coming from. My grandkids aren't sitting there saying, oh my gosh, is daddy making enough money this week so we can get groceries? Right? But it's funny because Jesus says, unless you come like a little child, right? So I'm learning to live from a place of, I'm not going to fear what's next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fearing death of like, oh my God, I can lose it all. Why? Because it's already been done.
Yeah.
Gail says it all the time about defeated.
Oh my goodness. I love this. It says the devil's been defeated and disarmed. Well, what does that mean? He has no arms and he has no feet. So he has no power except for what you give him.
Yeah. And, that's one of the statements she got from Chris Valentin
Yeah.
for the longest time, but she's always saying that. But we know that the devil has destroyed the works of the enemy. I just want to read this because, we hear the word destroy and we're like, that's great. That's really, really cool. But the biggest thing is when you listen to that word destroy, it's funny because in Hebrews 2:14 it says, for as much then as the children are partakers of the flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. I want to read what the word destroy means in the Greek. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I will mess that up. It literally means to be entirely idle or to render idle, useless. Literally in the King James Version, it means to abolish, cease, deliver, destroy, do away, become, make of no, non, without effect, means to fail, loose, bring, come to naught, put away down, vanish away, make void.
And I remember the other one was annihilate.
Annihilate was another part that goes in there. And so when you sit back and you start to realize that he's been annihilated, he's been defeated, he's been destroyed, all his works have been destroyed, you can learn to live from a place of rest, knowing that the Father has already set these things in motion before the foundations of the earth. And when we look at that, we were in him before the foundations of the earth, we realize that everything I need for this life here on this earth is already in a process that God is for me.
Yes.
And your mindset starts to begin to change because you're able to live from a place of rest. And I like what Nathan says. He says, happy fulfillment.
Yes.
And I love that word because I'm learning. We moved here in Tennessee and something inside of me has clicked that never before this happy fulfillment in my life is coming to
It's
pass.
now.
Is right now.
Yeah.
Here on the earth.
I think we both have been like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I see things in you and you've seen things in me
Yeah.
that we don't really see in ourselves. And then we'll say, hey, you didn't do this last time. Or, I see that you're doing. And I
Yeah.
told Fred, I said, I feel different.
Yeah. It's literally like you can feel the energy around begin to change.
Yeah.
And that as that energy is changing in our chemistry, it's literally changing all the way around in the world around us. It's funny because I read some things, people were saying, oh, they hate these people in Tennessee that come here and they're here from up north and different things like that. And me and you have been saying like,
oh my, I have not, we've been here a little over a month. Even, the DMV people?
oh my gosh, I never thought I'd like going to the DMV, okay? Everything's in one place.
You get your tags, your license, everything like one spot. Anyway, we have not met anyone that hasn't been nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some out there, but it's also what we're giving out as well. It's like what they feel around us. Like what's our frequency? What's our energy?
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody here has been
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
We're like, duh.
I want to say something else, but I'm not even going to go there. We have gone to visit a few places. Haven't found a place that is for us yet. But it's been interesting because I've been joking with her because, I'm like, I said the first time, I hope the worship is good. And then it dawned on me, it's just like, boop, we're in Nashville. I mean, and I got to tell you something. If I walk in the church and the worship ain't good, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm just telling you right now.
He's like, if we're this close to Nashville, because we're only like 45 minutes to Nashville, he was like, every place here should have awesome worship.
Yeah.
And we have visited 3 places, and it's true.
And all the worship has been good and stuff like that. So we're glad to be there and visit and meet some people there and stuff like that.
Yep.
One of our best places, it has been the gym. That's been one of the greatest places we've been. Met a lot of cool people there.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting to see what God's doing in that. Well, we're going to go ahead and close this session. If you have any comments or questions or anything else you want to know a little bit more, just drop them in and we'll go ahead, we'll respond, or we'll even talk about it on our next session.
And like and share, like subscribe, not for anything of us, but just, just the word of God. I mean, something in this may inspire somebody.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. We want you to experience the goodness of God right here, right now. Don't wait. Live your best life right here, right now, and experience that happy fulfillment that you can experience here, and let God do all that He's created to do already. It's already inside of you.
Yeah.
If you're looking to start a business, step out and do it, man. God's calling you out to do these things. You need healing in your body. It's already in you. God's already done these things for you. Start experiencing and moving and flowing in the healing that God's already created for you. Watch and see what He'll do in your life in these next coming days. We long to hear from you. We love you guys. We miss you. Can't wait to see you all soon. Take care. God bless.
See you next time.